Chapter 2, Prologue to the Cosmic Post Office. Prologue. Noun. 1. Separate segment to introduce a literary or musical work. 2. An incident or thing leading to another episode or matter. 3. A time trial in professional cycling to determine a leader. October 7th, 1895, Zurich, Switzerland, version 1. Al pedals through the misty streets of Zurich, his mind embarked on a cosmic journey. He fancies himself a mailman, not of mere letters, but of messages through time. The autumn night's mist envelops him like an unopened letter, his thoughts drifting to Aaron Bernstein's magazine article about the universe as a cosmic post office. Here, in his imagination, in this thought experiment, Al Einstein becomes the cosmic courier, zipping through epochs, transcending time to deliver messages to historical and future figures. Despite tomorrow's looming entrance exam, which he'll flunk, but history will forgive, at almost 17, Al chuckles at his own whimsy, murmuring, "Ich bin meiner Zeit voraus," a mischievous grin spreading across his face. The phrase, "I'm ahead of my time," resonates deeply. For he envisions traveling beside his bike's light beam at the speed of light, a journey through time itself. In the shadows, the timekeeper, an AI from the future, watches Al. Tasked with maintaining the balance of time, this entity knows Al's pursuit of the light wave from his bike will lead to monumental discoveries. Yet, for now, Al remains content in his imagination, blissfully unaware that tomorrow's flunk is not a misstep, but a pivotal moment orchestrated by the timekeeper, who alone understands it's all about the timing. Version 2. Einstein's bike swerves, colliding with what seemed like an invisible body. Under cherry blossoms, he ponders objects linked like strings across space-time. He recalls hearing a bike bell, not his own, like a warning, right before the collision. This moment, unbeknownst to him, is like an anchor in the time ocean, using quantum entanglement with another body across the space-time web. Timekeeper, an AI from the future, manipulates the threads of time to ensure this encounter with quantum entanglement. He feels terrified. This encounter, which he'll one day call spooky action at a distance, will shape his future understanding of physics. As he steadies himself, a cherry blossom petal floats down, landing softly on his handlebar. "Time," he whispers to the petal, "as fleeting as you," glimpsing the intricate dance between destiny and individual will, yet unaware that the timekeeper's invisible hand guides him towards his cosmic destiny. October 7th, 1993, Cloten, Switzerland, version 1. Dear Jimmy, I miss you more than Swiss Miss misses her marshmallows, Maya wrote, her heart heavy with distance between them. I miss you more than a Swiss watch misses a second hand. Every moment without you feels like an eternity. You'll be here in December, right? I'm counting down the days like Swiss chocolate workers counting cocoa beans. Today was a bit of a weather roller coaster. I went for a bike ride but had to return for a jacket. I'll write more soon, but my sister, Ellie, is about to leave for the post office. Please write back. Love, Maya. P.S. Did you know the Swiss invented Velcro? Maybe we're just meant to stick together. Version 2. Today my bike crashed into something invisible and I hurt my head. It felt like I hit a ghost from another time. I even heard a bike bell from nowhere like a warning right before. It was spooky, like a ghost. I'll write more soon, but my sister, Ellie, is about to leave for the post office. Please write back. Love, Maya. She sealed the letter, but not before adding a postscript. P.S. Remember, not all distances are measured in miles. She gazed one last time at her letter, penned on tissue-thin, pastel cosmic stationery adorned with planets, the sun, and stars. Then she added the symbol of a flower, mirroring the signature touch that Jim always included in his letters. October 7th, 2023, Kibbutz Yama Bezman, Northwest Negev, Israel, version 1.0. Shira woke from a nightmare where her peaceful kibbutz became a battlefield, with terrorists as clowns on tricycles, a terrifying image that lingered as she prepared for her morning bike ride. The morning air was thick with an unspoken tension. Preparing for her bike ride with Yuri, the rhythmic hiss of air, like lisping serpents, into her tires whispered like the nightmares that haunted her. "Hey, Yuri," Shira said, trying to shake off the unease. "Let's hope today's ride is less eventful than my dreams, shall we?" Yuri chuckled. "No promises, Shira, but I'll do my best to keep the Hamas clowns at bay." Version 2. All Shira's nightmares came true as she hid behind her bike in the bushes, witnessing the terrorists' brutality in her kibbutz. She'll later discover that Uri, her biking companion and lover, was among the victims of today's brutal attack. There was a stocky, red-headed man, like a guardian from across time, who had instructed her in English to hide where she did. A bullet hit her bike bell, causing it to ring out, and the tattooed cherubic guardian was gone. She recognized him from somewhere. Shira was safe. All was quiet again, and she wept softly, watching a small flower blowing in the breeze, like watching life through a pinhole in an opaque wall of death. December 12th, 1993, Cloten, Switzerland, version 1. A Swiss airjet roared, boring a hole like a portal overhead in the frozen air, as Jim and Maya huddled close, their thick ski jackets making them look like Russian matryoshka dolls. Her long, gold-spun hair cascaded like waterfall strands out of her neon green and pink chic snowboarding knit cap. Bright yarn and static electric strays from her golden locks exploded into an array of cosmic orbital protrusion like stars and planets around her head. One single blonde braid hung down her back like droopy French bread. She was a vision to Jim. "Your yellow coat looks like a banana," Maya laughed. "Yeah, we're like those layered Russian dolls," Jim replied, chuckling. "We'll be rushing to see each other." The silence stretched like a runway. "Jimmy," Maya said earnestly, using the nickname that had a hint of the Swiss-German lilt she loved, "I fall into an abyss when I'm not with you. Why did you stop writing?" Jim embraced her, resting his chin on her head. "I miss you, Swiss miss," he said, thinking of the hot chocolate logo of a cartoon Swiss girl that would soon fade from memory, like Maya also would. "Living this far apart is a bummer," Jim said, his tone heavy despite the lightness of his words. "Bummer," Maya echoed, her laughter piercing the night, lightening the darkness around them. "I like this word. It's funny. When God has a plan for our life, Jimmy, we'll survive this distance across the ocean of time," Maya said, her eyes glistening like snowflakes with hope. Jim paused, the phrase echoing in his mind like a haunting melody from another era. His gaze drifted to the window of his mind, where the fabric of the night seemed to part, revealing the infinite sky beyond the cold Swiss winter night. "The ocean of time," he murmured, half to himself, his voice carrying a tremor of both wonder and unease. "I feel like I've heard that before. Or maybe it's from the future?" His eyes flicked back to Maya, searching her face for any flicker of understanding, as if she too might be a bridge between the familiar past and an unknown future. They watched jets overhead, their lights painting the sky. Jim wasn't worried about jet fuel dropping on him, but in the future, he'd think about conspiracy theories and the digital world. Maya and Jimmy tittered and giggled, teetering between English and German, between the hormonal high of teen love and the low hum of jet fuel. Their besotted infatuation was incendiary enough to melt buttons off a snowman. A particle collision. Passion. Fission. Hormones. They pressed even closer together in the blustery night, blood flowing, watching the miraculous massive jet underbellies shred through the overhead crystalline dark blue and pink-hued wonderland air. In this moment, they were both children and adults, their love transcending the constraints of time, shifting like the precise gears of a Swiss clock, fluid and ever-changing. CERN, just an hour's flight away, had just released the World Wide Web. Neither knew how it would change everything, turning their analog letter writing world into a digital one in a single instant. Not long from this moment, it would become an electronic world, a World Wide Web world, a CERN world. However, in this moment, the teens were in their own world. Another jet thundered above. They leaned into each other and kissed. Version 2. The Timekeeper AI from the future, tasked with maintaining the balance of time, watches from the shadows and alters this thread of time. A sudden, inexplicable chill runs through Jim, like a whisper from the future. Jim looks down at his Swatch watch with its Picasso artwork on the watch face. The ticking of the watch seems to him to be louder than the jets above, a rhythmic pounding that drowns out even the roar of the engines. He feels the ground quake, a subtle tremor that only he seems to notice. Although it's nighttime, he sees an instant of daylight, as if time itself stutters, catching a glimpse of the future like looking through a pinhole in the thick, opaque wall of evening. Another jet thunders above. They don't kiss. Her face began to fade, replaced by a guitar solo in his mind. Jim is distant, somewhere else, lost, terrified. Sprich mir einmal auf Deutsch. Speak to me once more in German. Maya tugged Jim's sleeve, grinning. Are you scared? Jim's voice trembles, barely audible to him over the watch's ticking, as he clutches Maya's hand tighter. I don't know what's happening to me. He glances at Maya, searching her eyes for any sign she feels it too. Maya's smile falters, her eyes reflecting a mix of confusion and concern. Jimmy, what's wrong? You look like you've seen a ghost. She reaches out, her hand hovering near his face, unsure. What's happening to him? It's now an electronic world, a World Wide Web world, a CERN world, where their future hangs in the balance, altered by unseen hands. November 16th, 2018, Barrio Escalante, Costa Rica, version 3.2, Echoes of Time. Jim stood at the edge of the field, the memory of that day with Maya vivid in his mind. The sky was a canvas of twilight, painting the world in hues of orange and pink. He could still hear her laughter, feel the warmth of her hand in his, and see the fear in her eyes as they parted ways, not knowing it would be the last time. In that memory, he plucked a small, delicate flower, offering it to Maya with a smile, a promise of their connection. But in the present, Jim found himself on a gusty porch in Barrio Escalante, November 2018. The air was thick with the scent of rain, and the trees somersaulted in the wind. His laptop lay open before him, the screen flickering with the promise of a storm. He had been meticulously going down a list of Maya Schneiders, providing detailed accounts of their shared past in his emails, hoping to find the one he remembered, the one who had received that little flower long ago. Just then, an email notification popped up. His heart skipped a beat, thinking it might be her. It was from a Swiss girl named Maya Schneider, but her message was clear. I think you've got the wrong Maya Schneider. However, coincidentally, I do have a brother named David, just like the one you mentioned. He's in the Swiss Army. I'm actually a professional cyclist, not sure if that helps, but I've always felt like my life was a race against time. As he turned to leave, a gust of wind swept through, carrying with it a piece of paper that fluttered down to land at his feet. Jim picked it up, his heart skipping a beat as he recognized Maya's handwriting. It was a letter he had retrieved from his childhood storage unit, a relic from times long past, which must have slipped out of his bag unnoticed in the gusty air. As he unfolded the letter, His eyes caught a line that seemed to resonate with a deeper meaning. "Write me soon. I fall into an abyss when I'm not with you." The words struck him with a force, not just for their emotional weight, but for the eerie premonition they carried. He remembered Prophet Dean's words about CERN being built in an abyss, echoing Revelation 9:11. This connection made Maya's words feel like more than just a metaphor. It was as if she was foreseeing the unraveling of time and space around them, and suddenly the abyss seemed all too real. September 22, 1993. Dear Jimmy, still buzzing with nerves and joy from your call. It was like a balm to hear your voice. After we hung up, sleep was a stranger, my mind racing with all I wanted to share. But when I had you on the phone, my brain just went poof. That's a brain fart, right? I'm sorry for that. But in this moment, it didn't matter. You made me feel like I was floating on clouds again. I was afraid you'd forgotten me, felt like falling into an abyss. But now, I'm okay, and I hope you are too. It's been 6 weeks since you left Switzerland and me. Love, Maya P.S. Write back soon. February 12th, 2019, Los Angeles, California, version 3.2. Epilogue, a message from the future. Now, back in his California apartment, Jim reflected on the 3 months he had spent in Costa Rica, guided by a cryptic mention in one of Maya's letters about a peculiar phenomenon there. His heart raced with anticipation as he checked his email. There it was, an email with the subject, "The Edge of Tomorrow." Jim, if you're reading this, you've made it this far. Remember, what we've started isn't over. The dance of the cosmos continues, and your steps are crucial. Watch for the signs, trust your dreams, and above all, remember her. She's the key to everything. The email, bizarrely, was time-stamped from the future, December 12th, 2033. The message ended not with a traditional signature, but with a mysterious string of letters and numbers, a code that seemed to defy logic. M4Y4L1F3. Following the code, there was a postscript that caught Jim's eye, almost as if the sender was anticipating his confusion. P.S. If CERN created the World Wide Web, did you think they couldn't create the space-time web? And then the email ended with a little Unicode flower. Jim leaned back in his chair, the glow of the screen illuminating his face. His obsession to recover his lost memories felt like an endless puzzle, piecing together his broken memory with letters from over 2 decades ago. Each letter, each fragment of memory, was a step closer to understanding not just who he was, but what he was meant to do. And it all seemed to start with this Swiss girl, Maya, who had just popped up in his memory, filled with holes like Swiss cheese.